Welcome back to Lunchtime Politics. Let's begin with the news in brief. The Independent National Electoral Commission is worried about the spate of political violence in Kwara State, and this is just as the police says it has made some arrests and will soon charge them to court. Although the two factions of the All Progressives Congress showed up at the event, the Bashir Bolayiwa-led faction was allowed by INEC to sign, while Balogun Fulani faction left before the commencement of the program. President Buhari has declined assent to 5 bills passed by the National Assembly. The bills are the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission Amendment Bill, Bankruptcy and Insolvency Bill, Federal Polytechnic Amendment Bill, as well as the Maritime Security Operations Coordinating Board Amendment Bill and the Energy Commission Amendment Bill of 2018. President Buhari indicated his decision to refuse assent to the bills in letters written to the National Assembly. Elsewhere, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, has expressed worry over the fate of the 2019 elections following the refusal of the President to sign the 2019 Electoral Act Amendment Bill. He says the bill was intended to minimize the risk to the country's democracy. Mr. Dogara alleges that the current Electoral Act gives room for manipulation in the forthcoming elections. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has arrived Washington, D.C. on a visit to the United States. Mr. Abubakar departed from Abuja for the United States, accompanied by the DG of the PDP Presidential Campaign Organization, President of Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki. Yesterday, the PDP presidential candidate arrived at 20 minutes past 8 Nigerian time, or 14:20 hours Washington, D.C. time. Alhaji Abubakar had earlier met with the business community in Lagos at an interactive session to unveil his plans to get Nigeria working again. A statement by Paul Ibe, spokesperson to the PDP flag bearer, says he would be meeting with U.S. government officials, the business community, and the Nigerian community. Mr. Abubakar also confirmed his arrival in the States via a tweet, quote, "Just arrived Washington, D.C. for meeting with U.S. government officials, Nigerians living in D.C. metropolis, and the business community," end of quote. Elsewhere, President Muhammadu Buhari is assuring Nigerians that the promises he made to them in 2015 are still relevant today, and he will continue to uphold them if elected for another 4 years. The president was speaking to a large crowd at the APC presidential campaign in the Warri Township Stadium, Delta State, where he vowed to deal a blow to corruption. Also present at the rally were the party's national chairman, the governorship candidate in Delta State, and other APC dignitaries.
On fighting corruption, we are doing our best. We are just following the slow system where we have to face people with facts and try and take them before the courts and get them successfully prosecuted. And what we realize this time around, we are selling the assets and putting the money through single treasury account so that nobody can take the assets back to them. I assure you, sooner than later, I will get the EFCC and ICPC to give a comprehensive press conference to tell Nigerians how much we have recovered and where it is and what we intend to do with it.
The 2019 elections is coming with lots of power play, subtle maneuvers with the political parties and a near last-minute campaigns. The umpire, INEC, is also having its hands full with lots of protests across the parties. Some politicians are still so much in doubt about the chances that INEC has in conducting a credible election in 2019 with the president's refusal to assent to the amendment electoral bill. Well, let's join now Dr. Jibrin Ibrahim, a former director at the Center for Democracy and Development. He joins us from our Abuja studios as we assess the political atmosphere. Many thanks for joining us in Lunchtime Politics. What are your thoughts with regards to the remaining uncollected PVCs? Do you see it becoming a problem for INEC and for the forthcoming elections?
I don't really think so. The key issue of debate in terms of the Electoral Act has been the use of the card reader to authenticate the permanent voter card. It turns out that since 2015, that had been included in the Electoral Act 2010 as amended. What's affected by the non-signing of the electoral bill has been the electronic transmission of results directly from polling units and ward collation units to INEC headquarters. In any case, that particular aspect was facing technical challenges because not all parts of the country are covered by wireless access.
Let's ask you the final question just before we go. We've also seen that a larger number of people who are registered to vote are between the ages of 18 to 35, young people. But in your view, have the campaigns addressed some of the issues affecting them?
I think the issue of the registration of young voters has been a growing trend reflecting Nigerian reality, which is that essentially we are a very young society with the great majority of Nigerians being under 30. I think the current government had made a very bold promise of ensuring that this category of Nigerians that they would address their key challenge, which is that of employment. I think a lot of effort has been made in that regard, but I don't think what has been achieved would completely satisfy this category of Nigerians. It is for them to make the appreciation of whether the efforts have been sufficient or not.
Dr. Jibrin Ibrahim, former director of the Center for Democracy and Development, thank you so much for joining us on Lunchtime Politics. And that's how we call it today on this edition. I'm Millicent Walker. Many thanks for watching.